Hey, we're live. Hi, guys. Uh, Everything looks good. Hi, welcome to the Traders Journal. My name's Marisa. We're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. London time. So it's morning where I am because I'm on the other side of the world in New Zealand and I have my morning coffee. But we're here every week talking all things mindset and psychology about trading. So if you want to become a consistent trader, what you need is mindset and psychology, the right mindset, the right psychology, so that you can be consistently following rules, consistently behaving in the same way in the market, and then you'll start having consistent outcomes, which are profits. Okay, so today we are talking about discipline and how to get discipline as a trader. Now, I'm going to go through 5 must-have steps to getting discipline. Okay, these are not like nice to haves. These are like essential steps that you need to have discipline as a trader. And I'm very familiar with this process because I was a very undisciplined person. And getting discipline just as a person and then as a trader was quite a journey for me. And I've really had to put thought into how did I do it, because I did it. I don't know if you could be more undisciplined than I was. I didn't like discipline. I liked the freedom that being undisciplined gave me. And it was part of my identity. I was just okay with not having discipline. And then as my trading wasn't working, as I wasn't getting the results I wanted, as my goal, my kind of dream of becoming a full-time trader was just getting further and further out of reach, I had that moment where it's like something going off in your brain where I just went, if I do not do this, I cannot have that. And that was my moment. So we're going to go through this. Before we start, let me quickly introduce myself. If you haven't been joining us on a weekly basis yet, if you haven't met me yet, my name is Marisa. I'm a performance coach with City Traders Imperium, and I am a full-time trader. Now, I trade Forex and US stocks. I would describe my trading as swing trading. And those are kind of the daily work I do is on Forex and US stocks. I also do long-term investing in the crypto markets and do high time frame trading in crypto, but it more represents buying at good levels and then hodling, right? I don't apply my trading strategy to crypto. For me, it doesn't work. The other thing I do is I'm a long-term value investor in the global stock market. So that's kind of slow, long-term investing. So that's what I do. In 2025, my trading and investing portfolio surpassed $1 million. And I've been doing this full-time for about 2 years. And it was about 5 to 6 years ago that I had that moment where I went, I need discipline to make this work. So for me, it's been, at the moment, I'm about 7 years into my journey from making the decision to become disciplined. What else can I tell you about me? Before I became a full-time trader, I worked in regulatory compliance for investment banks in London. So my career has always been kind of in finance. But for me, wanting to be a trader was about the freedom of it. I was already in a highly paid career. It wasn't about money for me. It was about the freedom, being my own boss, setting my own hours, working from my own home. I really I'd wanted that freedom since I started my career. over 25 years ago. And it took me a long time to understand what trading was, to find out how to actually do it. And I spent a lot of years kind of just not taking it seriously, jumping from strategy to strategy. If there's a mistake to be made, an error to be made in trading, I've made it. I feel I've been through the entire journey. So I do understand wherever you are right now in your journey. I do understand the frustration, the fear, the fear of this may never work for me. Okay, so now let's get back to discipline, because it's so important as a trader to have discipline. How do we get disciplined? It is the $1 million question. It literally, when it comes to trading, it literally is the $1 million question, because it's easy to say, okay, here's your rules. This is how to trade. Now you just be disciplined and follow that. But how do you get discipline? What is it? What does it look like? We're going to answer that, because we know that this is the $1 million question in trading. Because if you could just follow your rules, you have a strategy, you've hopefully back tested it, you've been practicing it, you've studied it, you've done all the work, you're doing all the work. It feels like you're working so hard. So why isn't this working for you? Well, you know that if you just had the discipline to follow your strategy every day, where could that take you? And over your career in trading, could it take you to $1 million quite easily? There is no ceiling in trading. It is whatever you make it. It is whatever your goals are. Wherever you want to take it is where you can go with trading. It's so, there's no one telling you where your cap is. There's no one telling you where your ceiling is. There's no one telling you how much you may make. There's no one telling you what the limits are. And in a way, that's also a problem, because there's no one telling you anything. You are your own boss. So you have to have discipline to do this. So let's get into this. Let's get into the 5 must-have steps, okay? If you want to become disciplined at trading. Number 1, you must know what you want to be disciplined about. You must know you can't just have discipline. What are you being disciplined about? Okay, and this then ties back to your trading rules. What are your rules? If you have nothing to follow, you may turn up with the best intentions to be disciplined, but there's nothing to follow. So you're already setting up a chaotic situation and then expecting discipline to just arrive, okay? You need to first have a plan, something that you're planning to be disciplined about. These are your trading rules. It's kind of like wanting to be disciplined about a new fitness regime, new fitness regime, let's use that. You need to know, what time are you starting your exercise plan each day? How long will that plan last? So how long are you exercising each day? What are you doing each day? What's the plan? How much are you lifting? What exercises are you doing? What order are you doing it in? What nutrition are you taking before and after? What are your rest times between sets? How many sets will you do? How many reps will you do? These are the rules of engagement, call it that. And when you have the rules, when you then bring discipline in, you're making it so much easier to be disciplined about something. Now, if you just walk into the gym with no plan, discipline will not, you're making it, okay, you're already struggling with discipline. Don't make it harder for yourself to just think, okay, I'll just walk into the gym and be disciplined. I'll find things to do and I will just do things. You won't. Because I've been there. You'll walk around the gym, you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and before you know it, you're out of there because you're bored. You've just lost the plot because you didn't have a plan. Now, this is your trading rules. You need to know what your rules are. And this is the error I see many traders make, is that they believe they have trading rules, they have a strategy, and it's when this candle does, surpasses another candle, then I will enter. When it's made some profits, when it's good enough, I'll get out, and my stop loss will be below this area. Okay. What time do you trade? What time frames do you trade on? Do you ever look at anything else? What if there was a moving average that it's above or below that you've never noticed before? Do you trade above the moving average, below them? Is there any other indicators that factor in? When will you trade? When will you not trade? What does a good candle break above look like? What does a bad one look like? The stop loss, is it just below? Is it, what if the moving average is there? Is it below the moving average? Is it above the moving average? Can you move that stop loss? What if the stop loss is so huge that your risk is, what if it's such a huge entry, this entry candle is enormous? What do? What if it's teeny? What if it's got a huge wick the wrong way? There's so many little factors in there. What if you have an open trade that you haven't taken profit of yet, and then a new trade sets up? Can you stack trades? Do you move the previous trade's stop loss up to break even? What are your rules? You need to go through all of these rules. It's your rules of engagement, and they cannot be they need to be simple, but they need to be robust and cover everything. When will you take profit? Taking profit when it's run a little bit is not a rule, because how are you going to be disciplined about that? Because it's going to change on a day-to-day basis. If your rules are not clear, if you do not have a rule for everything, if you leave anything unruled, you're making your attempt at discipline so difficult, because you're going to be in a moment where there is no rule, so you don't know what to be disciplined about. You're going to make decisions in the moment. They work sometimes, they don't work other times, and then you're going to feel undisciplined, and it's going to start to erode your belief that you can be disciplined. It's going to start eroding your attempt at being disciplined. Okay, it's very important that you have rules and that you understand how deep these rules need to go. Okay, it's not about adding more indicators and more time frames and more analysis for the rules. It's about adding more structure around the whole process. So if your rule is really nice and simple, we want simple, this candle or this breaks this level, break of structure, break of this, then stop loss there and target 3RR. Nice, simple rules. But you need more than that. You need to know, when will you start? When will you trade? When will you not trade? What days do you trade on? If there's a holiday in Asia, do you trade? If there's a holiday in the US, do you trade? The markets are open. Are you going to trade or not? If there's news, do you trade or not? If there's what are your rules of engagement? The best way to know if your rules are robust enough is, as you're trading, have a piece of paper next to you. I just use a clean white sheet of paper, and at the top put a big heading, questions or uncertainties. And as you're trading, when these things come up where you're like, I don't know what to do here, write it down. Don't do anything. If you don't know, you do nothing. Okay, that's the default. So you're going to do a lot of nothing if you don't sort these rules out, or so that's the rule. That's already a rule. If you don't know, do nothing. Now, if you don't know a lot and you just keep trading, you're breaking every rule already. Okay. So you start to track how much uncertainty there is, because there's always new situations that come up while you are trading that you're like, I haven't seen this before and I don't have a rule for it. write down what happened and don't do anything. Do not trade through things you don't have rules for. Okay, let's move on to the second one, discipline. So first one is you must have something to be disciplined about, something to follow. So you must have very clear rules. Okay. The number 2 part of being disciplined is you have to decide to be disciplined, and just make that decision right now. Right now, just say, write it down somewhere. I decide to be disciplined, because discipline isn't going to just show up tomorrow. It's not going to just land in your lap and then you're disciplined. Okay, it doesn't work like that. You have to make the decision to be disciplined. You don't know how you're going to do it yet. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know all the hows. But if you don't make that decision, okay, it starts at the start. Just be brave and make the decision. Just say, I decide I'm going to be disciplined, okay? We're going to work out how to do that. But if you don't if you're like one toe in, I'll see what it looks like. No. If you want to be a trader, you need discipline. You need to make the decision to be disciplined. Okay, you don't know how it's going to work yet, but in your mind, you have to make that decision. So number 2, and don't discount the step. It seems so simple. It seems so silly, but most people never do this. They never make that decision, because what happens when you make that decision is it changes the way you behave. It changes the way you tackle problems. It changes the way you see the world around you. If you decide something, you don't know how it's going to work yet, but you need to make that decision. Okay. Number 3, you've made the decision. Now you need to actually commit completely. There's no plan B on decisions, on discipline. You have to commit, because discipline is a journey. It's a behavior that we're going to develop in you, and it's a journey. And scientifically, they've proven that to change your behaviors, for it to become something that you just do, usually takes about 3 months. Okay, you want to start eating healthily, you probably need to follow and obsess over a vigorous diet for probably 3 months before it becomes just kind of more natural for you to eat healthily. Same with an exercise regime, same with anything. Now, there's lots of other things we can add to make this easier, better, etc. But I'm just talking about if you just decided and committed to being disciplined, it'll take you about 3 months of effort, conscious effort, because it's not yet natural for you to be disciplined. So now we need to make you a disciplined person. It's going to take about 3 months. We can speed that up, but so commit. It's a journey. Like I said, discipline is not just going to fall in your lap. And secondly, discipline is not just going to happen overnight, okay? It's a journey, and because it's a journey, you have to commit to it. And the way I like to describe commitment is I call it, you have to burn the boats, okay? There's this movie which is based on a real life event many, many, many years ago. I don't know all the details. I'm going to get some of this wrong, so I apologize if you know the story better than I do. But there was an army that went to, I think it was all in the old Greek times. I think the movie's called 300. And they sailed their boats to this island, and then they had to fight this tribe or this other army on this island. And when they got there, the commander realized that the army was not big enough. They had like 300, I think, and the other army had like 1,000 or 10,000. It was huge. And basically, he said to his army, burn the boats, because when you burnt the boats, there was no exit. There was no escape for his army. They had to fight through this other army to survive. And that is commitment. That's how you get commitment, is actually burning the boats. And for a lot of things, we keep a plan B because in many ways, it's safe to keep a plan B. So these guys, it would have been safe to keep a plan B, keep the boats, because if they start losing terribly, you want the plan B to stay alive, right? Okay, so there's a lot of sense to keeping the plan B. But if you kind of use this example as as if you really, really, really want something, if you burn your plan B, you actually get more commitment to going through because there is no out. So sometimes it's like, sometimes when our back's against the wall, this is what this is like. When your back's against the wall, you will fight harder, you will do whatever it takes to get through it. So with discipline, now we want to commit, we want to burn the boats, we want to just commit, there's no other way out. It's just so easy to, there is a way out. You can always, any time of any day, you can just stop. So it's very hard for us to burn the boats. It's really hard for us to push through. But I'm going to talk about this in step 4, how we actually do this. But step 3 is just committing to the journey and try to, even though you know you've got a way out, you can always stop being disciplined. Just commit. Write it down under your decision to become disciplined. Commit to the journey. It's just an action. And it might not make it, again, it's going to probably be in the bucket of, this seems silly, why would I do that? Doing these things has been proven that it helps us. If you've just written down a commitment, you're more likely to stick with it. If you've written down a decision, if in your mind you've said, I decide to do this, you're more likely to do it. If you don't do these things, you're less likely to follow through on them because you never committed to it. You never made the decision. It's just, it gives you that plan B, back out, get back in the boats, go away. It makes that so much easier, okay? So just doing these actions, making the decision, committing, scientifically it's been proven you're more likely to follow through when you do these things. And that's why they are must-have steps in our 5 steps. Number 4, and this is now how we push through this journey, is you need to accept the failure success roller coaster, okay? Discipline, it's a 3-month journey, let's say. It doesn't just go from up little steps. It doesn't go in a linear, lovely, like more. No. That's, if you zoomed out, that is how you will go. That's what the graph will look like. Your behavior, your commitment, your decision, everything will improve and it will look like it's straight up. But if you zoom in on the detail, it's going to look like this. Okay, and every drop is a failure and every rise is a success. Let's call them failures and successes. And slowly you'll just stack more successes than failures. But you are going to have failures in this journey. And what do I mean by failure? You are going to have moments where you lose your way. You're going to have moments where you give up. You are going to maybe come and be disciplined for 10 minutes one day and then fail. That's okay. The acceptance of the failure success roller coaster, let's call it, is part of the journey. Okay, a lot of people have one day where they come in guns blazing, they follow everything they want to do, they have the discipline for maybe one day or 3 hours, I don't know, whatever it is, and then they fall short and they're so like disappointed and they just give up. They get on their boat, their plan B, and they're off. But the people that push through failures are the ones that actually end up at their goal. You have to be able to accept small failures they're going to happen all the time, possibly multiple times a day. The faster you just forgive yourself and move on and start again, try again tomorrow, try again tomorrow. It's the same as a diet. Many people, so I'm not a proponent of diets, but I am a big supporter of healthy eating. I think it's about health, not weight. But let's call it a diet because it's you want to start eating healthily. So you start a diet, start on a Monday, and by 2 p.m. on Monday, so in the morning you're eating like blueberries and it's great, and then a little piece of chicken breast and some rice and broccoli, and it's great, it's great. You hit 4 o'clock and you fall off the wagon and you, I don't know, eat some ice cream. It's been proven that the people that just take that failure just so badly then go, oh, this doesn't work, and then they just give up and they'll move on. Maybe they string together 2 days, 3 days of the diet, and then they fall off the wagon. And they're like, oh, I just can't do that. It's not working for me. They give up at the first point of failure. They will never be able to stick to a diet. They'll never be able to have the discipline to follow through because they give up at the first sign of failure. The people that accept that, okay, well, I had a hard day and okay, I fell off the bandwagon, but the next meal I just start again. I'll just pick it up again. You need to just keep going, even though you have little dips. It's okay. That is part of discipline. That is a part of it. Is the better you, the more accepting you are of small failures, small falling off the wagon. Just keep getting back up. Just keep getting back up. The more you get back up, that it's actually the answer to everything. Just getting back up. Maybe the first time you kind of fall off the wagon of your new discipline regime, it's going to hit you hard and it's going to take a day or two to get back on the wagon. But the more you can just be okay with small failures and get back on the wagon faster, the faster you're going to get to your end point, your goal. Faster you can become successful. That's the end of it. So being okay with small failures and just getting back on the wagon is a huge part of it. And it's number 4 in our 5-step process. Accept that you will have small failures. Okay, you're not perfect, but we're trying to get through 3 months of just sticking to this. I don't care how many times you fall off the wagon, just get back up, get back up, get back up. That's actually what the power. It's not about being perfect. It's about picking yourself back up. That's what Sylvester Stallone says in, oh my gosh, it's totally escaped me, in his boxing movie. Why can I not remember? This is terrible. In his boxing movie, Sylvester Stallone is telling his kid, I think it was a little girl's kid, maybe it was a boy, and he says to him, it's not about how hard you get hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and still get up. It's very powerful, but that's what we're talking about here, is hit, get back up, get back up, get back up. And you actually end up, having the same approach, the same mindset to losses in your trading. Losses are just small hits. Okay, they lose their impact after a while, but they're just small hits, and you just keep getting back up and keep trading through it. This in itself, just accepting small failures, is a very powerful behavior and skill to develop in and of itself. Okay, very powerful. Now, number 5. Okay, we're almost at the end here. This is very important. You have to become disciplined. You have to start identifying as a disciplined person. Okay. Now, maybe you're currently so far away from thinking of yourself as a disciplined person, and you can see if you're a disciplined person in the rest of your life. Okay. Are you, do you show up to things? Do you show up to your healthy eating regime? Do you show up to your exercise regime? Do you show up to keeping your environment clean? Do you show up to showing up for your family? Do you show up? Discipline is basically showing up. Do you show up in other parts of your life? Or are you taking the easy way, the comfortable way? And you can also describe the comfortable way as lazy, slob-like, just not showing up. Now, I identify with that because I was not always a disciplined person, and that's not just with trading, that's in my life. And I could definitely, at many times in my life, not for the last 7 years, but before that, I could absolutely describe myself as fairly lazy, fairly slob-like, messy. I wanted to always take the easy way out I wanted everything just easy. Now you can choose easy. Easy is actually just comfort zone. Okay. You can choose comfort zone or you can choose discipline, because discipline in and of itself is not comfortable. It's harder. And especially it's harder at the start. Okay. After 3 months of behavior change, it's easy. I'm disciplined in every aspect of my life now. I love it. I'm not disciplined 24/7. I have times when the kitchen is a mess. I've just cooked a meal and I'm like, you know what? I've had a huge day. I'm tired. I need to just rest. I'm making the decision to not clean up my kitchen right now, and I'm going to go lie on the couch and watch a program. But it's a decision. It's not just a default. I do still choose at times to have comfort. Doesn't mean that you can't have time out, can't have time off, you can't have, relaxation, let's call it that. But discipline is about other times actually showing up. Now, if you want to have your identity as someone that is disciplined, the better way to do this is, remember, discipline is a series of behaviors. So it's kind of like the detailed level is discipline is showing up, following rules. Like you can see your discipline I practice discipline all the time throughout my life in terms of like healthy eating, showing up for exercise, showing up for cleaning my house, showing up for how I do the laundry, how I hang up the laundry, how I do everything that when I'm doing something, I do it the best I can, the most efficient, in the most disciplined way I can. Then I also have time out and I do nothing and I relax. I have relaxation, a lot of it. But you can practice this discipline in many areas of your life. Is show up to that activity. Show up and do it to the best you can. Because when you start feeling like that, that is the feeling of discipline. If you're going to do exercise, show up when you said you would show up, and then show up for that half an hour or that 20 minutes, whatever you're going to do. Show up and do it the best you can. That is discipline. Now, that's a series of behaviors. If you really want to understand discipline and how to become disciplined, you need to identify as a disciplined person. And what you're actually doing is you're identifying as a successful person. There is not a successful person that is undisciplined. Success is not easy. Success takes you, it costs you. It costs you some comfort. And it requires you to show up. Start identifying as a successful person. Go and study successful people. You can see them they're doing interviews, they're doing probably whole documentaries. There are successful people that you find inspiring. Go and find them and go and watch their documentaries. Go and study them, read their books, study them. They are not lazy, slob-like, comfort creatures sitting in their comfort zones. They are there, they're showing up. And start identifying as your future successful person today, because that is discipline. That is going to give you the feeling of what discipline feels like. Now, if you start putting these 5 must-have steps in place, and once you've gone through step 2, 3, 4, 5, how are you going to be disciplined? Well, it all comes back to your first step. What are your rules of engagement? You then have the ability to show up and follow your rules of engagement. Now, on day 1, you might only get 10 minutes in and then you fall off the wagon. Okay, well, step 4 is accept that. Hopefully you don't fall off the wagon too bad and blow an account. But if you do, you get back on that wagon the next day and you try and be better. You just have to be better than that day. You just have to do 12 minutes. Okay? It's going to be a long process. You just have to be better than yourself yesterday. And when you commit to your future self, when you commit to your successful future self, you're going to show up. And you're going to, over 3 months, you will be amazed the person you become. It's a journey. It's a journey, traders. So, you see where I am. I'm going to end this now. Hi from the UK. So thankful for coming across your channel. Thank you for doing these lives. You are more than welcome. That's so cool. Thank you so much for posting a comment. I'm going to reply. I often finish this live and I forget to read my comments. For watching. Cool. That's really cool that you posted a comment. So we're going to end there now. How can I help you? First of all, City Traders Imperium, this YouTube channel, I show up every Wednesday. That's an example of discipline. I show up every Wednesday. I don't not show up. It's just part of, would I have done that 7 years ago? No. I think I would have, shown up one Wednesday and then got tired, you do change, okay? So just show up. But here's how I can help you. I show up every Wednesday, the Trader's Journal. We talk all things psychology and mindset about trading, okay? So you can tune in here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. London time. In the Discord channel of CTI, I have a channel, Coach Marisa. you can go in there and ask me questions. If you've got questions about this webinar, if you've got questions about your discipline, if you just want to tell me how you're doing, post it there. I do check it, and I love communicating with anybody that wants to improve their psychology and their mindset about their trading. Okay. You can post questions or comments on this webinar. It doesn't have to be live. You can post them after I check throughout the week, and if you post a comment, or question, I will come and answer it for you. I have a YouTube channel. The link is in the comments in the description below. I am on my YouTube channel every day. I make content sharing what I'm doing, mindset, psychology, tips, advice. If part of your journey to discipline over 3 months, if it's helpful to come and just watch my daily shorts, to just have that reminder in your ear of what we're trying to do here with improving our mindset and psychology, I think that's a great thing to do. So head over there, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I also do post more ad hoc, like long form webinars of teachings, okay, bit like the Trader's Journal, but I'm doing this here every Wednesday, so you know it's a set routine, right? Okay. Once you're on my YouTube channel, you can also subscribe to my newsletter. There's my my free guide from chaos to consistency, and you can get my newsletter. And I also send mindset psychology advice through my newsletter. I can help you that way as well. Finally, there's a link below. You can contact Gerald if you want to inquire about actual coaching with me. So you can contact Gerald and see if it's the right thing for you. It may not be the right fit for you, right? But that's another way I can help you. So just get started. So, go and work on your rules, and step 1, make that decision to become disciplined. Because as traders, when we get disciplined, you start to get what you want out of trading, that vision you had when you first discovered trading and you thought, wow, if I could just do this. Well, this is how you do it, through discipline. So just make the decision, and the journey will actually take care of itself. It's that decision is really, really important. So guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I will hopefully see you next week. Have a great week trading. I haven't had a trade for 4 days, but things are now starting to move. So stay safe, keep your risk under control, and but most importantly, have a great week.